Welcome to episode 7, Rooted in Idaho, Real People, Real Places, Real Idaho. We have Kelly Walton here, a good business partner and friend of mine. Have him on the episode here to talk about him and Idaho and everything he's doing. So, Kelly, welcome.
Thank you so much, Spencer. It's great to be here. Great to meet you guys.
Yeah. So, Kelly, with this podcast, we're always wanting interesting people on here to talk about things that are going on in Idaho, and you definitely have an interesting career and the transition you're going through now. And, one of the things I wanted to talk about is, again, we're partners with real estate. Like, how did you get into real estate, and, where was that transition that you decided you wanted to do it?
Well, back in the 90s, I was partners with my dad and my brother in our general contracting company.
Yeah.
And we were doing millions of dollars in contracts with the state, the Fed, just all kinds of people, and 5-state regional company, about 75 employees. And one day I went to him, I said, I was really burdened by this, guys, we need to get into real estate. We need to get into rentals. That was I didn't want to I wasn't even thinking about a license at the time, but I said, we need to start buying rentals because that could, be our retirement. And they said, oh, that's penny ante stuff. We don't want to get into that. So anyway, I about 2 or 3 months later, I left the company, and I just went out on my own, got my real estate license, and I started doing flips. It was much smaller business than what I was used to, but the goal was to keep one for a rental, and the next one we would sell as a flip so we could survive. And I did that for several years, and then 2008 hit, and the real estate market went to pot. I don't know if you remember that, but it was nasty. And I got a job offer back on the East Coast, 6-figure, in 2008. It was great. And I told my partner, she was actually my personal assistant, I said, we just got into the rental business. And so we were able to secure the deeds for 22 rental houses within 18 months.
Wow.
And that just set it off, because now, just last month, we were able to completely pay off all those mortgages.
Huh.
And I don't have to get up in the morning.
I know.
Unless you have a podcast with 2 idiots sitting on the couch,
So,
you know what I mean? Then you have to. But
Well, there's idiots. But
Please pay for ads.
But that kind of got me going on the whole real estate deal. And then I got into transactions and representing clients, and I came back from the East Coast in 2016. We moved to Boise. It said we were in the Magic Valley before that. I'm in Twin Falls, Burley Rupert area.
is that where you grew up? Was in Magic Valley?
I was transported there in
Okay.
1975. I just graduated from high school from San Diego.
Okay.
And my dad bought a farm.
Oh.
And I said, okay, let's go. And we got into farming.
Wow.
Oh, man.
So you're like an OG California transplant then.
Yeah, but
75.
It's been 51 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What were you
I don't say
farming?
that disparagingly, by the way.
He's a local.
San Diego, yeah. No, 75. You can say you're
Bred and born.
You're an Idahoan. Yeah.
What'd you farm?
We were into sugar beets and wheat. And
Wow.
unfortunately, the market on both commodities tanked.
Yeah.
And my dad lost the farm within a year and a half, 2 years.
Oh, good.
Thing.
And it was interesting, but I got into the University of Idaho up in Moscow.
Yeah.
Decided I'd get some college in, and I had a really bad roommate. He said, "We need to go into business together." I said, "Hey, I'm here to get my education." He said, "No, we don't. That's garbage. Let's go." And believe it or not, we bought a restaurant in Coeur d'Alene, and it was a little fast food operation, and we paid $8,000 for this dive. And we went up there on the weekends and just worked and, got it all up and running, got all the equipment going, the ice cream machines, the grills. It was a fast food place.
Yeah.
And it was right on the city park and the Coeur d'Alene beach, across from the softball fields, if you know where that's at. And But yeah, we paid $8,000 for this thing, and we just sunk all our money into it, and because we were, just college kids, and we got it all ready to go, but we didn't have one dime for inventory.
Minor detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so all we had was the stuff to make some snow cones and coffee.
Mm.
And they were having a softball tournament across the street, and there was a little a place that sold refreshments over there, and I just walked right by this guy with my tray of coffee and snow cones, and I just walked up and down the aisles selling stuff, and I made enough money to buy our hamburger supply.
Buy some food. What the food suppliers wouldn't give a couple college kids net 30 terms or what?
I didn't even know what that was back then, but we got enough to get the train rolling, and we grossed about $85,000 in the first 2 months that summer in Coeur d'Alene.
What year was that?
76.
Dang.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. We were hopping. It was a busy summer.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So you didn't end up selling it, or what happened with it?
Yeah, well, about a year and a half later, two ladies walked in and offered us a lot more than we thought it was worth, and we let her go.
Wow.
Yeah. Smart move.
Yeah.
But it was a nice little hit, and it gave me a real opening to the whole idea of being an entrepreneur and making payroll. And
Yeah.
we had a skateboard shop on the side. We were a bunch of skaters. I brought that up from San Diego. And
Were you a longboard guy?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. We did a lot of high jumping off that thing.
That's awesome.
But
I got to see a picture of that, Kelly. You haven't showed me that.
I've got some.
Long hair,
That's
right?
awesome.
Just
Yeah.
flowing.
Yeah. I don't know where it all went, but
So
I mean, you still got hair that flies in the wind because you're still doing the sailing, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. He's been trying to get me up on Lucky Peak for like the last year. Like, come on up. Been too busy.
Yeah, we've got a little two-man kayak with a 20-foot sail and outriggers that fold out. So it's about 10 feet wide, and it flies.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Have you been out lately?
No.
No.
It's been a little cold.
You've been doing some door knocking, haven't you?
I've developed a new habit as of late. I decided to run for the Idaho legislature,
I know.
District 22A, but the incumbent on that seat is John Vanderwada,
Okay.
and he's been in there about 15 years. And he contacted me about 6 months ago and said, "I'd like to have you consider running for my seat." He's retiring, and I said, "John, I'm so busy." And about 2 months later, he followed back up and he said, "No, I'm really serious. I need you to run. I don't want this guy that's running right now to win. I want to beat him." And so I'm in. I just yesterday passed the milestone of 7,000 door knocks since October.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool. How's that been? How's that experience been? Meeting all the neighbors and community, being out in the community. Have you found? I mean, obviously, right now you're also stepping into politics in a time that's pretty fraught with tension.
What am I doing?
Yeah. So have you made some great connections? Has it been
The neighborhood,
eye-opening? What's the experience been?
they've been amazing to meet. I get about a 30 to 35% open rate.
Sure.
The rest of the time, I just leave one of my hangers on the door. But the people have been just amazing, and all of them have been in the west of Cole Road towards Cloverdale. I've door knocked every door between Cole and Cloverdale since October.
Wow.
Between Victory and Hubbard.
Yeah, and that's not just little neighborhoods. I mean, some of that stuff's spread out. It's not like you're going and having 500 homes on a huge block, right? You're going down roads and driveways, and
So first thing I did is bought me an electric scooter.
I like it.
And so everybody knows, all the kids know me as the scooter guy. But I can get, on a good day, I can get 200 doors with my scooter, where 70 or 80 doors would be all I could get if I was walking.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
that's crazy.
Well, I definitely want to talk more about the legislature, but before that, I want to circle back to you mentioned, I think it was, you said in the 90s you were in the contracting business with your dad and brother, and then that was when you kind of started thinking like, I got to get into the rental business. Where did that insight come from? Like, where did that idea get sparked of like rentals? That's the game that I want to play. Like, did you know someone else who was doing that? Did you see that somewhere? Was that just something that intuitively you sort of were like, I think there's an opportunity here? What sparked that?
It was intuitive. And I was just so tired of working so hard, and we were making good money in general contracting, but there was so much stress, so much pressure to get done on time, or you run into this magical little word called liquidated damages, that the owner applies to us if we're late.
Right.
And so, if we're too late, we could see all our profits just evaporate. But that never happened, but it was just a lot of pressure to perform. And I didn't want to be doing that in my 60s and 70s. I wanted to be able to have the option to go do anything I wanted to do in the morning.
To ride an electric scooter around and knock on 200 doors a day.
That's my idea of a good time. But I have a maxim in politics, and that is if you walk, you win. If you don't, you won't. And I used to teach campaign schools when I was back east. I was executive director for ACT for America. And we started right after 9/11 happened, the founder of the organization. And we developed that into a 1 million member organization with 1,200 local chapters across the country and the world, and taught a lot of people how to run for office. I've had several of my chapter leaders that are in the various state legislatures and school boards and city councils, and so I've helped a lot of other people do it.
Yeah.
And I said, let's go for it. I think we can pull this off.
Put your money where your mouth is to a degree, huh?
Yeah.
How did you get into all that? Like, what made you interested in campaigns and
Well, I've always been
running
interested
campaigns?
since the 80s. I door knocked for a U.S. Senate candidate over in Oregon when I was going to college. And the 2 precincts that I door knocked did much better than the surrounding precincts. And I said,
Light bulb. Yeah.
yeah, there's a cause and effect here. So I just got into it and very passionate about a lot of issues in the political spectrum. And I've helped a lot of people do it. And for the incumbent in my House seat to approach me was very unusual. And I thought, wow, what an honor, to have him have that much faith in me to where I can not only win, but make a difference.
Yeah.
So I really wasn't thinking about it, but it provided an amazing on-ramp onto the freeway of political action here at the Idaho legislature.
Yeah. Man, door knocking, that is not easy. It's kind of interesting, right? How you built your real estate career by door knocking and doing that, and how it sets you up for success, later in life for this, right?
Yeah, when I came back to Meridian in 2016, I really didn't know a lot of people. And so I just started door knocking and meeting people.
Yeah.
And I found that for every 150 to 175 doors I knocked on, I got a listing appointment. And I was able to translate that into about 90% of my appointments. I got the listing.
Yeah.
And you just have to wear out the shoes.
Yeah.
And you meet the people.
Yeah.
You just got to get out there and mingle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dying art, I think. It's a fight or flight kind of moment, isn't it? Right, going up to the door.
Yeah. What's your opening line?
Yeah,
like,
I know,
what's you knock on my door and I open it and I'm like,
I got to cut to the chase
Yeah.
really quick because
Oh,
I don't want them to think I'm selling ice cream or something. Like that. No.
yeah.
But sorry about that. But
we don't sell door to door usually.
yeah, no.
I will if times get hard enough.
You the next Schwann's or what?
But I just say I am running for the Idaho legislature, and that way it wipes out all the no soliciting concerns, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I immediately say the current incumbent, his name, and he's asked me to run, and so I'm doing that for him with his endorsement, and because he's been in that office for about 15 years, it creates immediate credibility. And then if they have half a brain, they start engaging with me on, okay, what are you going to do? What do you want to do? Stuff like that. So
Wow. Yeah, you don't do the step back, right? You ring the doorbell, take a step back, maybe turn sideways.
Yeah, some doors, some porches are so narrow, you've got to get away from the door, or they think you're right on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, I do step back.
Yeah.
And when I ring that doorbell, I give them 20 seconds, and if I don't hear any activity, I'm gone. I'm gone to the next house.
Yeah. Have you had some people on those doorbell cameras be like, "What do you want?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had great
Give me your
discussions
pitch.
with the doorbell cameras. You know, those rings, because they're on. I mean, once you hit that bell.
Yeah.
So I show my card, my campaign card, and then I tell them what I'm doing, and I've gotten commitments to vote for me over that silly camera.
Hey.
You know, and yard sign commitments. I'm on pace to have 600 yard signs.
Wow.
In April.
Yeah. God, you should see if Ring will give you some campaign donations or something.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah. Well, you've lived here for a long time, right? We talked about that earlier. And, Idaho is such a great place that, that I've, fortunate and lucky to live in. And with your intimate knowledge of not just living here for such a long time, but also door knocking, getting to meet people, what can you really tell people about Idaho and what makes it special? And, what has it looked like as it's changed, over the years?
Well, one of the first things I did when I moved here 51 years ago was I checked out the Sawtooths.
Yeah.
I was a big backpacker of the Sierras.
Yep.
And we went on about a 2-week backpack trip right in the middle of the Sawtooths up out of Pettit Lake. And we got, we went up Snowy Side. We were on top of many of the peaks in the area. We weren't technical climbers, but we could scramble.
Yeah.
But I just love that area. I still go up there. We go up to Stanley at least twice a year, and just take in the food and the view.
Stanley's my favorite spot, right? I mean, the lakes, the river, the Sawtooth Mountains, the actual peaks. Great food, great people.
We take the sailboat up there. So
you do? Okay.
Go on Redfish.
You go on Redfish? Yeah.
Alturas, Stanley.
Yeah. You hit the hot springs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there in Stanley.
Yeah.
Nice place.
It is.
So that really drew me at first because, we were down in the Snake River Plain. It was just kind of farmland and a little on the flat side, a little boring, So the mountains called my name right off the bat.
Yeah. Okay. But the people is really the thing is like that you see here. You've been here for a long time and seen this transformation of this valley and how it's grown, and the people are here. And I mean, what do you think that makes it special with these people and for people that want to know, like, if things have changed and what that looks like?
Well, Idaho has been attracting a lot of people, especially up the West Coast.
Yeah.
I sometimes call it the left coast, but it's the West Coast. And they're looking for a place that used to be. In fact, I say that Idaho is what America used to be.
Yeah.
And it's an attraction that's just incredible. And most of the people coming in from the coast, and that's probably 60, 70% of our buyers.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
And I try to do a lot of transactions with people that are just moving across town and stuff like that. I've specialized in luxury and Eagle.
Yeah.
It's kind of been my specialty. But Idaho draws them in, and it's just amazing to see. And the people here are so welcoming. Where in California can you go and everybody's kind of doing the 2 or 3 finger wave, off the top of their steering wheel? That's an Idaho thing, And people are friendly and welcoming and trusting until you fly by them at 100 miles an hour on 84, and then they go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of self-regulating in that way too, right? Because it is a community where people are welcoming and trusting, and then when someone is acting out of that, it's like everyone's kind of like, hey, we don't do that here, right? Like it's not our style, which I think is I always think I'm so trusting. I grew up in Southeast Boise and still live in Southeast Boise, and I will be at a coffee shop in downtown, and it's like oh, I got to go to the bathroom or something, I'll just leave my laptop and my phone and my keys like
do too.
on the table and go to the bathroom, and I don't think twice about it, you know.
Yeah.
And to this point, knock on wood, you know, it hasn't burned me yet, but it's I think that's a pretty unique thing that we're able to comfortably sort of do, of like, I don't have any qualms about just leaving my bag and things like that on the table and go to the bathroom and come back and it's always still there. And you know, that's a microcosm of a larger sort of just stylistic part of living here, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's that trusting atmosphere. And even with my scooter, you know, a lot of times I leave it out on the sidewalk or the street, and I'm sometimes at a door for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't ever worry about it not being there when I come back, you know?
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Super cool.
So, you know, Kelly, let's talk about this legislator. I probably butchered that.
Legislature.
Okay, cut that, please.
Let's try it.
Why don't you talk about it? I'm having a day.
All right. Editing magic. You want me to actually talk about it? Okay. Yeah, so talking about, you know, seat 22 in the Idaho legislature. That's in the House, correct?
Yeah, there's 70 House seats
Okay.
and 35 Senate seats.
Mm-hmm.
So each House seat has an A and a B
Gotcha.
seat.
Okay.
And I'm running for 22A.
22A.
Yeah.
What are some of the, you know, when you're engaging with people in the community here, like what's the what are the issues that really got you to step into the fray and pursue this? Like what's the change that you want to make?
Well, you know, one of the things that totally blindsided me, but it jumped off the page once I started talking to people, and this is west of Cole Road, south of Victory.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unincorporated Ada County.
Mm.
But these people are paying for Boise City services.
Mm.
And I'm going, wait a minute. You're paying for sewer and water or whatever, and you can't vote in city elections? And they said, absolutely not. And we're livid about it.
Mm.
And so I'm going to be pushing legislation. I've got to check out the legalities from the legal world. But I would like to see a bill that says if you pay $1 in sewer, water, trash collection, whatever, to the city of Boise, that you have the right to vote in the next city election.
Mm.
And when I tell people at the doors, I mean, they come through and hug me because they've been there for so long and they have no say. You know, 250 years ago, we fought the revolution over tea. You know, it's taxation without representation. Mm-hmm. And George Washington and the boys were dead serious about it. You know, they killed people over it. And I'm just going, is this not taxation without representation? And it is. And so there's a lot of concerns about annexation issues and things like that. You know, if you get annexed by the city, your property taxes go way up.
Yep.
So people say, we don't want to get into that. So I would write that right into the bill, that they could not annex you if they haven't already. Because the city of Boise is playing a big game. They know that out to the southwest, the average voter is much more conservative than the north end. Mm. And if they allowed all those voters to participate, we might not have a new mayor. We might have a new city council or two. Mm-hmm. So it's been interesting, but we'll see. I've talked to the Speaker of the House about this, and he's very supportive, but he said you're going to have to navigate some pretty tough waters to make that happen.
Yeah.
So, but that's just jump. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Because at Cloverdale it ends and it turns to Meridian, and they don't have those issues in most cities in Idaho. If somebody gets annexed, they bring in the sewer and the water at that point. It kind of happens all together rather than, let's play this game and don't let them vote, but we'll take their money for our services. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty dicey.
Yeah.
That the city's trying to pull that off. But other issues, I've had a lot of questions about the tax credit for education that was just before the Idaho Supreme Court this week. It looked like the petitioners took some pretty tough questions from the judges on that, and I don't think they're going to be able to strip Idaho of that $5,000 tax credit. it passed the legislature last year. So a lot of concerned people about that, especially school teachers and family of school teachers. I can pretty much put that together.
Mm-hmm.
But and then there's just lots of other little issues that come up all the time, but nothing major like the city of Boise issue.
Yeah. Talk about a little bit. I mean, I guess I don't. I'm a born and raised Idahoan. I'm born in Boise and have more or less lived here my whole life. But Idaho has maybe a somewhat unique legislature, right? And that it's a part-time legislature.
Yeah.
So what are some of the unique challenges that just how our legislature is structured that either on the good side or the bad side sort of influence the work that the legislature does? Because it's a short season, right?
The session.
It's a short session.
It's the first week of January through the end of March or first part of April.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever there's a primary election, they all want to get out of Dodge quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get out of town as soon as possible so they can go campaign. So I'm not in the legislature. I have the luxury of I can be campaigning all the way through.
Sure.
But my goal is 13,000 door knocks by end of April, and I'm over halfway there.
That's great.
So it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. You got to be down there at 6 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that means I'm waking up at 4:30.
Dang.
And that's just so they can compress a full, what would, I'm not trying to catch you with off guard here, but what is a typical legislative session in another state that doesn't do the part-time thing like Idaho does, where everything's kind of compressed into a few months? And correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of that is because Idaho is an agricultural state, right? And so the folks coming from eastern Idaho and northern Idaho and different parts of the state, it's like we have to accommodate the farming season and the agricultural season. So we do this part-time kind of compressed legislative session thing that tries to get a lot done in a short amount of time with long days.
The larger states, it is a full-time legislature.
Year-round? Or
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
However, a huge state like the state of Texas, they only do it every other year. So it's just a matter of will.
Yeah.
To pull it out. And it's really tough to get a bill through Texas. I passed 83 bills when I was the executive director of Act for America in I think we were 29, 30 states, something like that. And Texas was just so tough because it was just every other, and I think Montana's every other year.
Oh, interesting.
But in Idaho, you pretty much have to be queued up in December to make it all the way through with the governor's signature.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a several-year effort. So it's interesting. A lot of personality, a lot of ego down there. Oh my!
No way.
Oh my God! And so I'm pretty self-deprecating, and but I know what I want to get done.
Yeah.
And so to go in there with several bills in mind. Now, having said that, my automatic default is no. We don't need new legislation to take care of this or that unless it's really, really necessary. So they've got to do an extra large job of convincing me that I need to vote for anything. My default is no.
Okay.
Because I think smaller government is better and we're more efficient that way. And that's just my general approach in my mind as I'm considering it right now. Well, a lot of people ask me, well, what committee do you want to be on? I got to win the seat first.
Yeah. Putting the cart horse.
Well, with a short session, you got a game plan, right? You got to get ready, do a lot of legwork. How's that? So when it's not in session, are people still going to the Capitol and the offices, putting stuff together on getting ready for that to happen?
Yeah. There's a lot of networking going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ahead of the session.
Selling this, selling that. And we have a fairly active lobby corps. I got the this spreadsheet the other day, and I think we've got about 155 registered lobbyists that their job is to convince legislators to go with them.
No.
And so I'm reaching out to every one of those.
Yeah.
I've got their phone numbers and everything, and
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, okay, what's your agenda? What do you want to get done? Is there any overlap where we could work together? If there's not, I'm not that interested. But most of them, there would be overlap.
Yeah.
And, and I tell every one of them, I'm not for sale.
Yeah.
But if you present me with an idea that matches my goals, I'm all in.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting. So there's 105 seats between the Senate and the House, and there's 155 lobbyists. So we've got about 1.5 lobbyists per representative
if
here.
You're
right?
if you're not careful, you could spend every night of the legislative session going to this
Dinner,
party
drinks,
or that party or going to the and you could wear yourself right out.
Sure.
And I'm halfway concerned I might do that because I'm wear myself out and not go to all the parties. But it's I'm used to that 30-minute nap in the middle of the day.
Is that usually right now while we're talking? Right?
Yeah.
Are we interrupting that?
Well, how many doors did you knock yesterday?
Yesterday I got 120.
Yeah, because he called me. He's like, "Oh man, I'm tired." I'm like, "Get some coffee. Let's go."
That's why Spencer got you this coffee that you haven't drank any.
Yeah,
of
I guess
yet.
I used a short straw because I came in last.
Thank you for the coffee.
Of course, anytime,
Yes.
anytime.
Yeah, that's interesting about just the inner workings and especially I would imagine when your first session, you're gonna really want to roll the sleeves up, get to know all the players, and really understand.
The learning curve is off the chart.
Sure.
And the last thing I want to do is vote on a bill the wrong way. So you've got hours and hours of homework to figure out, okay, is this bill really what it says it means, and talking to people I trust. And so
is it similar in the state legislature as it is kind of at the federal level, where a lot of like you have these bills and it's kind of, hey, this is what the bill's about, but there's all these add-ons and all these carve outs, and so it's not it's like, well, if we're gonna pass, if you want my vote, you got to put this thing in here. If you want my vote, is it similar at the state level, or are bills typically a little more simplified and a little bit more targeted to the actual issue that the bill's trying to solve?
The horse trading is off the charts in Congress.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
They're doing deals on the side, and there's unrelated issues, in a lot of these bills. Like
the bills are 1,000 pages long, and you get
that one big beautiful bill. I mean, I think it had, over 75 different issues that were being traded, and the Idaho legislatures. It's pretty much each bill is related to, in fact, by statute, it's related only to itself. Now, the horse trading goes on behind the scenes. Okay, you support my bill, I'll support your bill. That goes on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's much more simple than U.S. Congress.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine ChatGPT or the related AI tools make it a little easier to maybe comb through some of those bills to make sure that it actually says what you think it says. You upload it and say, hey, tell me what is hidden in here. What maybe this is my understanding of this bill. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, we don't want to say pass it so we can see what's in it, right?
Yeah, totally.
Nancy Pelosi's famous quote. Yeah. No, it's. I don't pretend to know everything about this process.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm a neophyte.
Yeah.
But I've got the background both in business and human relations to where I think I can figure it out pretty quick.
Well, I appreciate that humility too, to say, I don't know everything about this. I think that's what we need more politicians or just people in positions of leadership in general who say, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm willing to go try to do my best and figure it out. And
what part of deer in the headlights don't you understand?
Exactly.
So is there a dress code too?
Yeah.
You
got
suit and tie.
Yep. Suit. That's what I figured. I just didn't know if the farmers were able to come in with cowboy boots.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. The boots are all over the place down there, but they're in suits.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
suits and boots.
Suits and boots.
We should at the Funky Taco. We should do like a suits and boots happy hour or something like that.
Tip to the legislature.
Let's do it.
Suits and boots.
Do I get the invite to that, Casey?
Yeah. 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to be a suits and boots happy hour.
Just get a couple lobbyists to support the event, and you'll knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I might need that list of the 155 lobbyists to hit them up and be like, hey, how can we get some of these events over at my places?
Yeah. So Kelly, how has it been like formulating a team? You know, so you've done business, you know, you've done real estate, had a real estate team, and now you're in politics. How does that work? And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, if anybody pretends to be a leader and they turn around and nobody's back there, they need to second guess their assumption.
No.
But it's just building that dream, building that concept with a group of people. And, you know, I've got like 40 people that have volunteered to door knock for me.
Yeah.
And they're not just dropping the flyers, they're door knocking. And I just say, hey, just let them know you know me, you believe in what I'm doing, and you're asking for their vote. It's very simple. And I had one guy do a full square mile a week ago Saturday that out in the western end of the district that's much more rural. But he got about 60 doors, and he was spread out. He drives this old beat-up Dodge Ford pickup from the 70s that he fixes everything that goes wrong on it. I mean, he's an amazing guy. He's an engineer down at ITD, and he said, I just believe in promoting good people that want to run for office. And I'm just blown away by that. You know, I'm so grateful. And he's candidate material, by the way. I won't give his name, but he should be running here in a few years.
When you're ready to retire in 15 years, you can tell him you want
he
him to
lives
run
somewhere else. But yeah, and by the way, that term limit thing is, I believe in it. I think after 4 or 6 years, I'll be ready.
Yeah, get some new folks in there. What if do you have, so in real estate and business, I imagine you've had your share of employees and teams that you've led. Do you have sort of any guiding principles or philosophies around leadership, team building? You know, what are your thoughts around that as a concept, and how has that maybe evolved over time?
One of the big advantages of running for office with my background is I've always made payroll. And sometimes scrimping on my own payroll to make sure everybody else gets paid first, you know, especially with construction or even the real estate team. And it's knowing that they know that you believe in who they are and what they're about, and realizing from the get-go that nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes. What do we do when we run across those? And I used to have a little talk I gave with the engineers and the owners and the subcontractors on some of these big contracts that in the pre-construction meeting. And I would say, everybody goes through the honeymoon period in any relationship. You know, the other person can do no wrong, and fairly quickly you figure out otherwise. And I said, so and I promise I will do something to anger you. And when that happens, what are we going to do about it? You know, what are we going to? How are we going to address it? And I said, if you're feeling ticked off at something we've done or I've done, please come to me. And let's deal with it. And because some people just walk around a project the whole time, they're just mad, and everybody's wondering, why are they mad? You know, and so it's just so nice to just clear the air and I screwed up there. Let's, you know, admit it and move on. Yeah,
it makes me think of I don't know where I heard this quote, but any relationship, whether it's romantic, business, you know, friendship, whatever, it's really not about how good the good times are. It's about how you navigate the bad times, right? It's about how you navigate the conflict. Like that's the part that really matters in the long run. Is, you know, the good times are the easy times, right? It's the conflicts, it's the it's the difficulties, and it's like how do you work through those, and that's kind of the defining part of any type of relationship.
You know what's magical about that is somebody that has the self confidence to say, you know what, I screwed up. The magical part about that is their estimation of you just goes through the roof. If you have the ability to say, yeah, I messed up there, let's fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that goes to the same humility thing we were talking about earlier of people being able to say, I don't know. Also the ability to say, that one was on me. I screwed that up, right?
Yeah.
Those are two things that I think people in leadership positions, you can be hesitant almost to potentially, to admit that because you're worried that, like, will this make me look weak, or will this make me look incompetent or whatever? But it's really like that engenders more support and more trust because the other side can see like that you are willing to admit when you were wrong or acknowledge a gap in your knowledge or whatever it is. And then it's like that's actually how you build trust with people, is by doing those things.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is not to be too nice.
Yeah, which can be tricky, right?
You have
become
to,
friends, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to hold people accountable.
100%.
And so to have that balance that's the goal.
Yeah. How, is that for you? Is that something? I think that's something that I've been an entrepreneur for coming up on 9 years now, right? Which is great, and I do too. And this is something that's definitely I've had to work at, and I'm not going to claim that I'm amazing at it or perfect at it yet. But that balance, is that something that you think you get a little hardened in terms of the like being nice part over time? Do you think that's something that comes with experience? Do you think that's something that comes with maturity? Do you think that's like, is there any fast track to balance that side out of the accountability versus the humility and the
Well, intrinsic in that concept of accountability is, what systems are you using to hold people accountable?
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you've got a system in place and they know they've got that deadline at 3 p.m. on Thursday, it's much easier to bridge that gap.
Right.
Whereas if, some bosses with the 1950s style, they just fly off the handle and start swearing at people and what in the hell just went on? And it might work for some people, but you get much more progress with honey than vinegar.
Yeah.
But you can't be too nice about it.
Totally.
Yeah.
You got to balance that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you think about like the macro versus the micro a little bit too, where it's like, I'm doing the rest of my team a disservice if I'm not holding this person accountable, because what you tolerate is what ultimately permeates, right? Like if you have someone who's not living up to the standard, who's not, meeting the expectations, and you don't hold them accountable, then your A players who are busting their asses to meet the standard are going to be like, well, why, all right, Joe over here, he's dragging ass and he's not pulling his weight, and there's no consequences. There's no accountability for him. So why am I over here working so hard? And so it's like, sometimes you have to recognize that balance of what is best for the team. And I'm someone who tries to lead through personal relationships a lot, which can lend towards that being too much of a friend to people, that sometimes you have to come down on a little bit, and figuring out that balance of like, how do I uphold the accountability, uphold the standards, and not make it feel personal to this person who I like and who I want to have a good relationship with, because I want to have a good long-term relationship with, and I've worked hard to build a relationship with them. But right now I kind of have to say, hey man, you dropped this ball, right? Like this was supposed to be done this way and it didn't get done that way. So what's the next thing? I don't know. There's
one of the toughest things I've ever done is letting people go.
1,000%.
It's not a good feeling.
When I was executive director at Act for America, we had about 25 employees in the main office, and one guy just was not getting it done. He was our communications director. He did a lot of writing and stuff, and I called him in my office and I let him go. And it was hard, it was tough, but he admitted that he wasn't getting it done. And but the most instructive thing to me right after that is I had one of my other employees, she came up to me and she said, I can't believe you did that. He said, my respect for you just went way up.
Yeah.
You know, and when it's the right thing to do, you gotta pull the trigger.
100%. Makes me think about this book by Ben Horowitz, who's the part of Andreessen Horowitz, right? The world famous venture capital firm. But Ben Horowitz wrote a book called The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And, you know, it's pretty self-intuitive. It's like the hard thing about hard things is that they're hard. But he tells this story about having one of his like best friends who was in a company, and he came to the conclusion of like,
it's not working.
I've got to let this person go. You know, it's the right thing for the company. And I think about that often because it is, you know, I've similarly, I've had to let people go, and it absolutely sucks. It's gut wrenching. You're like, I would trade places with this person in a second if I could, because I hate this so much.
Well, you just feel responsible for it.
You feel responsible, you know, and you're taking away someone's livelihood, or you're you know, sending them, you know, you're sort of wrecking their world in real time to some degree, right? And that's not a good feeling.
No.
But ultimately, you have a responsibility to something larger, and to some degree, hopefully you are in the long run doing the right thing for them too, right? That can be an instructive thing for them to have some self-reflection or find a new path for themselves because they're in a spot that's not working for them, and it's tricky, but it's necessary sometimes.
And it goes back to what Kelly said, you know, systems is important in any business, right? Process and procedure. And when you set that expectation ahead of time, you know, people always, I found, want to be a part of a group, right? They want to be a part of something bigger. That's just natural, I think.
Absolutely.
And when I used to do it, I would, you know, tell people that, you know, I don't have all the answers, right? But we're going to get this right together. You know, my door's always open, right? So whether, you know, you have a question about something, once we set an expectation, if you come to me about something, let's talk about it. You're not always going to like the answer, but I want to hear you, and I want to hear the things that you have to say to me. But, you know, once I make that decision, someone has to make that. I want to tell you why, because I want them to understand where we're coming from, right? And what that needs to be. So it kind of breeds, you know, a team effort, right? In a team structure. And that way too, it takes away, it gives them accountability and gives them growth to be able to do things within a structure. So if they don't come to you, right, because there's an issue or a problem, you gave them the opportunity to, and they didn't do it. And if they follow through, great. And if they have ideas, they're part of a team. So I think that was one of the best ways to do it, and to incentivize. I think incentivization is one of the keys, not only for business stuff I did, but now the people that work for me is like, hey, if we all do a good job, like I want to incentivize you to do better. And now they, inside of an organization, feel like they have room for growth and opportunities that they might not have other places.
On a related issue, with my rental properties, we set the expectation up front with our renters that don't be late. You know, if you can't make payment, we need to know about it. You know, communicate, and you know, in some cases we'll bow and bend a little bit. But if we hit the first of the month and there's no check, there's no payment, the sheriff is at their door by the 3rd, and they usher them out. Yeah, we've only had to do that once because you know what, the word got around.
Yeah, because you set the expectation.
Yeah, these guys are tough as nails. They don't kid around. And my partner and I, we established from the beginning that these properties directly affect the well-being of our families. And if we don't support that rule, pretty soon our entire business could be in shambles, because the word gets out, oh, these people are a piece of cake. You can ride them
and walk all over them a little bit.
And fortunately, Idaho is a landlord state. Where now, do we care about our tenants? Absolutely. We have tenants that have been with us for 15 years, you know, and we feel like our prices are fair. We ride with them as long as they want to go, without increasing the rents disproportionately.
Yeah.
We take care of them. And the best renters, we offer an owner carry option.
Yeah, I wanted to actually talk because you were mentioning that before we started, where you've given some folks the opportunity to buy homes from you that they're renting without having to maybe qualify for a hefty mortgage.
Well,
which I
the
think is
average
really cool.
renter is their net worth is about $6,000. The average homeowner's net worth is $300,000 to $400,000.
Tied up in their home. Yeah,
Right. And so we like to give our best renters the opportunity to buy the house. And in our market, over in the Magic Valley area, many of these couples are they work the agricultural market.
Yeah.
They're out in the fields. They're hard workers, or they're in the processing plants, and they can't qualify for a loan at a bank or lending institution. But yet we've seen them over a 5-10 year period of time never miss their rent.
Well, it's pride of ownership, right? I mean, they have something to look forward to, and
Yeah.
I think it makes it good for both of you guys. I mean, you're making money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, they're going to have an asset that they're paying for, and I think
Exactly.
that's a great thing.
So we do that owner carry, and it's in many cases as a landlord, there's as much money in the interest to be made as there is in the appreciation of the property.
Yeah,
So it's a win-win.
that is a win-win. Well, and it probably gives you, I would imagine, a sense of pride and fulfillment that you're giving people who otherwise may not have a path to homeownership
Exactly.
a path, right?
Yeah, we're friends,
which is
with
like
a lot
really
of these
cool.
people,
Yeah.
Now I never communicate with any of them. It's all done through my partner.
Yeah.
And she's over there on the ground, and that little lady's tough as nails. I mean, she doesn't put up with any crap. It's pretty interesting, but a sense of respect is developed over time when you do that.
Yeah.
We always play the black hat, white hat deal. She said, I don't know, I'm gonna have to talk to the owner. I said, whatever you want to do, Teresa. It's worked out well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being here so long, Kelly, I mean, what's your favorite thing to do in Idaho?
I love to go sailing. I love to take on a new lake. We were up at Coeur d'Alene last year, and we were out on the lake quite a bit, and got a little. It's not a traditional sailboat by any stretch, but it's a 2-man Hobie kayak with folding outriggers. It's like 10 feet wide and a 20-foot sail, and it's got foot pedals that you can push to help accelerate too. So I mean, that thing can fly on a nice breezy day.
I bet.
And you need to go with me, Spencer.
I'm gonna.
What
make
do
it
you
happen.
what do you love about sailing? Like what about sailing got its kind of? I'm always interested in people's hobbies or interests, and like it's unique that something grabs you, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, why do certain people love golf and other people love to ski and other people, what is it that's like,
And
this is what I love about
And
it?
you can't say because you saw the movie Tommy Boy, okay? So you can't say that.
I've never seen it.
You haven't seen Tommy Boy?
No.
Oh my
So
god.
anyway, I love the lack of a motor. I love the peace and quiet
Yeah.
of just a reasonably windy day. Now it can ramp up, and we were up at Redfish Lake one day, and we tacked all the way up to the head of the lake there, and walked around for about an hour when we got up there, and got back to the boat, and a 35-mile-an-hour wind out of the canyon had developed.
Oh wow.
And so I hung we reefed the sail to maybe 2 square feet. Just this little patch of sail was the only thing showing. And I should have just not put any sail out. I mean, it would have blown the boat down the lake without a sail. But just surviving stuff like that when it could easily capsize you if you don't know what you're doing is, I love that goal. I love the realization we made it back again. Because some days are just,
You probably have to be like pretty locked into the moment in those moments too,
Yeah.
right? There's not a lot of space for, if it's a calmer day and you're just kind of sailing easy or whatever, you can enjoy the peace and quiet. But it's
totally different feeling.
That's what, mountain biking or like snowboarding or something. One thing I like about those things is it forces you into. I'm a golf. I grew up playing golf and I'm a golfer, and there's a lot of time to think in golf. Right. Sometimes too much time to think, and that's why it can go awry. But sometimes when you get into those other sports where there's like, it's the opposite. It's like you have to be in the moment, and you can't really have your like thinking brain going on because you're just like locked into what you're doing. Yeah, and it takes you out of that like head thinking mode and just into like that present moment.
The thing with sailing is it dictates to you whether you want to be dictated to or not. The wind, the conditions change.
Yeah.
And you got to be on your game.
Yeah.
Because you have to go to either side, right? I mean, it's a smaller one, so it doesn't have a mast down below, right, as much, right?
A centerboard.
The centerboard?
Yeah. Because I've got the outriggers.
Yeah.
It'll take that.
Oh, okay.
So we just sit in the center of the boat. Now, we've got trampolines, so you can go out on the trampoline and somebody that knows what they're doing. My wife's pretty good at it, but she likes just staying put in her seat in the back. But if you know what you're doing, you can counterbalance that weight and go a lot faster. Yeah. But I love the trampolines on a nice lazy day where I just go lay out on that thing and get a little sun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, besides sailing, I got to go back to this longboard thing. I'm just trying to envision you with long hair. It's just awesome.
I wish I brought the picture.
We should do a campaign video with you on a longboard. What do you think?
I think it should go switch back and forth between like longboard and then like transitions into you on the scooter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like this like through the generations thing of like we could probably take the picture and use one of those AI tools that can like animate a photo. Have you seen those? Or you can take a photo and then it can.
Campaign managers do that all the time.
So like we can animate you on the longboard transitioning to you on the scooter going up to a house.
And then like take a break at the still to get some ice cream in between,
Wow, you guys are creative.
Yeah, if you have a marketing spot on your campaign team, Spencer and I don't charge too much.
No, but we used to, with our skateboard shop up in Coeur d'Alene, we actually had a skateboard team that we sponsored, and they went to different competitions around the region.
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting.
You're kind of like early to skate. Like when did skateboarding really, like what was the heyday of skateboarding? Because this, when I think of it in like the 90s, right? Like
it was
Tony Hawk?
It was just before the 90s. And so we were ahead of the game. But the surfing culture in Southern California, we've always been on the board.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's easy translation.
Yeah, and when I went to the University of Idaho, and they've got all those hills in camp, I rode my longboard to class. Yeah. And going down some of those hills was a little on the wild side.
Yeah. Were you in a fraternity at University of Idaho?
I was, yeah.
What fraternity were you in?
Delta Sigma Phi.
Okay.
Yeah.
My dad and brother were both Beta Theta Pi up there. So
yeah. Was there a rivalry in that one or what between those two?
They were just party boys.
Oh.
I think we all were.
Comment. Yeah, I was gonna say, were you guys not? Yeah, my dad was there from I think like 72 to 76.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was a Beta from.
I was 76 and 77.
Okay.
Delta Sig.
Cool.
Yeah. Wow.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, Kelly, we kind of skipped over something. We ended up talking about a burger joint that you bought and ran, but then you kind of skipped over this whole skating thing in the skate shop.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we started the skate shop, and our ultimate goal was an outdoor sports shop. Where we had backpacks and skis and everything, and we didn't have the inventory to pull that off. So we started with skateboards, and one day a guy from Boise flew up there in his plane, and he'd seen an article written by the Coeur d'Alene Press about our skate team and our shop and everything, and he was building a skateboard park here in Boise, and this was in the days where they were independently owned and you had to buy your own insurance. It wasn't city owned where they just blew off the insurance requirements with a skate at your own risk. It just still drives me crazy. But he asked if one of us would want to come down and manage his park, and we could put up our own skate shop at the park. And it was on Shoreline Drive, just off where the park is now underneath the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And we opened up, I think it was summer of '77. And I ran the park. And I mean, we had all the TV stations down there and everything. It was crazy. And I mean, the number of kids, we had hundreds of kids show up. Very successful initially, and then it gets old, and then the liability insurance ate him alive, and he had to shut the park down. So, but that was a fun time.
Yeah,
we taught kids how to skate safely and responsibly, but I still saw tons of broken wrists. Oh my gosh, but kids heal up fast.
Yeah. So did you take the money from the burger joint and then invest it into the ski shop?
We were still a partnership.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's two shops, and in hindsight, I should have stayed in Coeur d'Alene. You know, we divided too early.
Oh, gotcha.
You know? But he went on to a successful. He's a city councilman up there in Hayden right now.
Oh, wow.
He's doing good, and but we were both each other's best men at our weddings.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
so he's a great guy.
Yeah. So are there any other businesses or anything you're hiding from us? Because that kind of just snuck in there.
Well, I've always been entrepreneurial on different fronts, but yeah, there was a few bombs. My wife likes to remind me of the losers, you know. And I said, well, remember the rental houses, okay? That's the one that keeps you in bed as long as you want to be every morning. So, so it's been good.
You probably learned more from the losers than the winners, though. Maybe.
Yeah, it's easy to gloss over lessons in a win.
Yeah.
But you're forced to confront yourself with what in the heck just happened on a loss.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and I've made investments that are still, you know, jury's out whether they're going to pan out or not. You know? And but I think maximizing your 401k and your SEP and your retirement accounts is always a good thing. 'Cause
Yep.
then in the end, no matter what all your other crazy ideas fly or flop, that's there.
Yeah.
You know? And the stock market's been a constant 10% at least over the years. So having that nest egg is really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Now with especially the growth we've had, especially in the last 10 years, you know, Idaho is to say it hasn't changed is not true, right? It definitely has changed. What do you see for the future right now, right? Like with being part of, you know, the state government and running for that, like what's the focus?
Well, I think the growth curve is going to continue.
Yeah.
We're going to see interest rates coming down big time by April or May is my gut feel.
Yeah.
And that's going to just light a burner under the housing market. And for every 1% drop in interest rates, we have 5 million new buyers flood the market nationwide. And that's going to be really true for Idaho.
Yeah.
And so prices are going to continue to go up. One of the things that I'm really concerned about is seeing farmland just being, you know, gobbled up by new development. And I'm a developer, you know, but my development is along the Payette River, and I've got 5-acre lots out there, and it's just pasture land. We didn't really take a lot of farmland, but one thing I want to explore in the legislature is setting a goal of putting new development out in the desert. Not all of it, but a significant portion. The big issue out there is how are you going to get your water
from the Snake, right? I mean, if you go southern, in the southern area, because I think that's what Micron's having to do too, right? They're going to have to do a 23-mile, water pipe. They're going to be able to pull from the Boise River, so they can get
They're
that.
pulling it out of the Boise River?
No, they can't.
Oh.
So that capacity is at least what I told.
So it's out of the Snake.
Yeah, they have to do a water line.
News to me.
Yeah,
good for them.
No, it's going to be nuts.
The water in Idaho is a big deal, and whenever we have one season where we don't get a lot of snow, like this year, it can really hurt.
Well, I mean, I think the big thing I see too, especially with all the housing development, remember all the canals, and you know this, were all meant for farming because that's what Idaho is and how it's been. And with all this expansion, it is kind of scary. If we don't get the snowpack from the mountains and it doesn't fill up our reservoirs, all that water, are they going to stop giving it to the HOA and to the homes? And
Yes.
are they going to divert it straight to farmers and make it a priority?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because it's like how much farther it can develop. I don't think they have room to add more new communities to
The lawns
canals.
will dry up.
Yeah.
No, they'll come back.
Yeah.
When we hit them again with more water, but it's a year by year guess.
Yeah.
And the guys that created this canal system back at the turn of the century.
New York Canal, right?
Yeah.
Yep, from New York. Yep.
What a bunch of geniuses.
Yeah.
They opened up so much land to be able to be irrigated, and as a result, all these subdivisions to have the irrigation water they need. It's a great system. We just need water in the Boise River drainage.
Yes.
Right now, the precipitation above in the Snake River above Palisades and American Falls is both just fine.
Yeah.
So the irrigators of the Snake River Valley are going to be okay this year. But it's the Boise River, the Weiser, the Payette that they're in danger. And further up north, it's really dry.
Yeah, even on the salmon and stuff.
Salmon's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at that report every morning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because I'm really interested in. There's just a lot of ramifications. Where can we go sailing? Stuff like that.
That too. That too.
So
Personal
it's a
interests.
big deal, and I think housing. One of the major factors here is, let's say you've got a farmer that's his property's been willed to him down the generations,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have any kids that want to take over the farm. And he sees he can get prices for that per acre that just
Are hard to say no to,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
it would set him up forever.
Yeah.
For his,
Yeah.
So how do you say no to a farmer? No, we're not going to allow that development.
I mean,
Right.
you live on subsidies, you live on loans, you're controlled by the price that you get paid for your goods. Like, I don't blame them.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta understand what they're facing too. So it's
a tricky problem.
it
Growth.
really is.
Well, yeah,
messy.
yeah, in a desirable state to move to, and supply and then we didn't touch on, but like first time home buyers who maybe have lived here their whole life and looking at people coming in with that's a whole nother can of worms, right? Of like affordability for first time home buyers in the valley and things like that, right?
Absolutely.
It's a tricky.
I think the overall answer for our kids to be able to afford their first home is to teach them how to make more money.
Yeah.
Because
Prices aren't coming down, so how do you?
this starter home idea where you slap up 4 walls and just skimp it together, that's going to only last for so long. And I think that's part of what McLean and the city of Boise are thinking with these ADUs and all of that. It's a mess, but we've got to figure out a system where our kids can come in and reasonably afford a first-time home. And some of the federal government programs, the FHA and others, where they only have to come up with 3.5%.
Yeah, it's true. And it's one of those other things as a metro city grows, and they all face it around the country, and especially us, is that affordability. And it's one of those things where Idaho is so amazing and we don't want it to change, right? Like, and this 10, 15 years ago, it used to be a developer coming in, bringing 5 builders in. They're doing 2 or 3 phases. So the developer builds out the first phase, sells all the lots, takes that money, Rob Peters to pay Paul, does the next one, and has, these great communities. And then people are like, well, Lennar, Richmond, America, Shea, they're all coming in. Yes, I mean, it's one of those things where those homes are built for a reason. And with those larger companies, they do make it more affordable for people to be able to buy, not just with price point, but also with interest rates and different things. So it's kind of that tough balance where we don't want it to change, but to get it to where there is affordable, we do kind of need them to make that happen, right? To pay for that infrastructure. And I think I'm curious about this, especially on the state, government side, is are we going to hold these big developers and builders accountable to help with the growth, right? To build out that infrastructure, as it goes in.
They've got to help with schools and fire and all those issues. And we just can't expect the consumers to suck that up any longer.
Yeah, the taxpayers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
we solved all the world's problems.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's no perfect solutions, right? And that's kind of the beauty and the challenge is that everything has trade-offs and externalities. But
so if you see me retiring from the legislature in the next year or two, you know what I ran into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Insurmountable problems.
Yeah. Well, Kelly, thank you for joining us on Rooted in Idaho and having that. That was a wide-ranging conversation. You've had a very wide-ranging career doing a lot of fun, unique things, and so it's been really cool to hear your perspective and your story. Where would you direct? Where could people find out more about you or your campaign, or where can people, if they want to get in touch or learn more about you?
I should have brought one of my campaign cards, but yeah it's waltonforidaho.com.
Is the number 4, or is it spelled out? Okay, it's spelled out. waltonforidaho.com.
Yeah.
Right on.
And Spencer and I do quite a bit of real estate together, and
sorry about that.
while I'm campaigning, if I find somebody that needs to buy or sell a house, I refer it over to Spencer, and then we've got a little deal worked out to where he can keep me in business. So
that's awesome.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the opportunity.
That's great.
All right, Kelly, we're at the segment, The Good Dirt, brought to you by Southie Real Estate. So we're just going to talk about, fun things, in the valley itself. It could be, the good kind dirt, of course, that has happened. So you got anything for us?
Well, I've been immersed in this campaign.
Yeah.
And it's just, I had no idea what to expect, but just encountering the hospitality at the doors has just been, I ran into a little lady yesterday at her door, and she was just getting ready to go walk her dog, and I told her what I was doing, and she said, "Look, I not only want one of your little campaign hangers, I want 15. I'm going to give them to all my friends." And I was just blown away by her, how nice she was, and how committed she was, and she obviously agrees with me politically, but then I found out that we go to the same church.
Oh, wow!
And she said, not only am I going to be supporting you, but I'm going to be praying for you. And I'm going, oh my word, and just you have no idea what to expect when you go to the doors. And some people, well, that's the dirt. I'll save that for later. But anyway, I'm just blown away by how full of hospitality the average person from Idaho is. Is incredible.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
love that.
What about you, Casey?
My good dirt this week is going to be some action happening in Garden City. So down by the Surf Wave, 34th Street, there's Push and Pour there, Rosa Tacos. No free ads, but free ads and plugs for them. But Casino Beach has been a project that's kind of been in flux for a while, right? And it's a new development right there along the river, right by the surf wave.
Yep.
And I had a good meeting last week to, obviously, selfishly, the still is going to be part of that development, or we've been planned to be part of that development for as long as it's kind of been in plans. But they're really ramping up construction again. So it's been kind of in flux for a while, but some new stuff coming down there to Casino Beach and kind of additional activity down in Garden City, which has been kind of a cool area to see how it's grown and transformed. So I'm excited to see the construction resume.
Yeah.
I think the interest rates are going to help a lot with that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Mine, the good dirt. Now you talk about the Casino Beach, I'm going to talk about the Riverside Hotel. I had a meeting with another friend of mine, Bob. We went to lunch there, and it surprisingly has good food in the hotel itself.
It does.
Burgers, hand-cut French fries. I was actually really amazed. So just a good spot. Go check out who would have thought like a hotel bar or restaurant would, be that good. So that's mine.
Awesome. Next segment. This segment is Funky or Sweet, brought to you by the Funky Taco and the Still. So we talk about a funky or sweet moment that has happened to you over the last week or so. Something funky, something sweet.
Yeah, a week ago yesterday, I was in my sauna tube where you lay flat on the floor and the tube rolls up to your neck. And anyway, I got too warm, and I got up afterwards and I actually fainted.
Oh no!
Oh goodness!
And now this is going to be really sweet. So the ending's sweet. The
little funky and sweet. I like this.
The way I'm getting there is,
it.
But I came down hard on the side of the bathtub, and so I tweaked my neck, I tweaked my low back, and my wife said I was out for like 20 or 30 seconds, just out. And my three granddaughters, who are 8, 6, and 4, the third one's going to the ice cream later. But
the Still.
Yeah, the Still. They were getting ready to leave after all this, and my oldest granddaughter came up to me and said, "Grandpa, I got my 2 sisters and took them into the living room, and we were praying for you."
Oh.
And I'm just going,
"Oh,
wow."
Yeah.
That's incredible to see that kind of maturity in an 8-year-old to think of leading her little sisters in that activity to make sure Grandpa was okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right, my funky or sweet moment of the week. I'm gonna go sweet. It actually happened today. I had a closing today.
Nice.
And I had a client. He had the opportunity to work with a lot of different people. He worked with me, and he said, "Hey, Spencer, I've worked with a lot of people, and you're the best person or best realtor I've ever been with. So besides a review, if you need anything else, just let me know. I'm there for you." Kind of just brings me back to just taking care of people, and when you do it the right way, good things happen.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Nice.
Wow.
Man, we got a sweet sweep here, because I'm gonna go sweet also. We had on what's today? Today's Wednesday. So Monday we had a group of students from Parma and Melba who are, I don't think it's called the FFA anymore, but it's whatever the FFA, Future Farmers of America, whatever that's kind of transitioned into. I don't know what the group's called exactly, but a group of students came for a field trip from Parma and Melba to our production facility up on Latah. So they came to the Stills location, and they had a bunch of questions about dairy and the production process and all this. And they're all high school kids. And it was really fun little field trip. I kind of impromptu, usually our director of operations kind of leads those, but they had sent some questions in advance, and he was like, "Hey, would you mind, being part of this?" And I think the kids would get a kick out of being able to talk to you. And I don't know, I think you can get so caught up in just your day-to-day activities, and you kind of sometimes forget the why you do some of the
Yep.
things that you do, you know?
Yeah.
And then when you talk to some high school students who are just really fired up to kind of hear your story and ask questions, and they were super engaged, and they were all really excited. They were all like, you know, pulling up their phones, and obviously they live in Parma and Melbourne. We don't have a presence out there. So I think
Yeah.
some of them had been to our Caldwell location and were a little bit familiar with the still, but they didn't have a whole lot of experience with us. And they were like, what's your guys' Instagram? We're going to follow you. And, you know, they were just really excited to be there. And they asked a bunch of great questions. They got to tour our production facility, eat some ice cream fresh out of the machine. And it was just a good little reminder of like, oh yeah, like, you know, like I said, it's like I'm living my dream quite literally. Like I've wanted to
lucky.
be an entrepreneur. I'm super fortunate that I haven't had a real job in 9 years, right? But it was a good moment to just remember like, oh, this is cool. I get to share something like ice cream with people from all over the state realistically, and all over the country when people come and visit Boise too. So it was a cool moment, and those kids were very fun to have in the store and in the production area, and just kind of
Nice.
show them around. So it was
I
fun.
like it.
Profits will always trump paychecks.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks again, Kelly. Really appreciate you
You bet.
sharing all your insights and knowledge with us here on Rooted in Idaho.
All right.
Thank
Another
you.
episode. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks.